So if you could just start telling us a little about yourself and your experience and as to what you're doing currently.
Okay. So I did. So I dropped out from IIT Roorkee, where So the first thing, I always wanted to be an entrepreneur because the vision came from my dad, because he always tried to be an entrepreneur. Then the time when I got to work towards it was my college. So once you achieve that you are into an IIT, okay, now your future is secured. Now you can take different kind of risk and experiment different things in your life. So first year I started by selling t-shirts. So before t-shirt also, so when I went into IT, I saw that what peoples are doing, what different students are doing, what we are capable, what is allowed, what skill sets allows you to do, what is the resources you have, what is the capital required, and how to start something. So we started very small, where I saw that people are selling t-shirts. Then I made a brand because I had a vision to take it to a longer time with a brand name and providing multiple things, covering multiple colleges. So I started that, and I sold around 16,000 t-shirts in total till the time we were doing that. Then we upgraded to a next business initiative, that was Creative Mammoth. So we started giving services. So I was an architect. I was having good juniors and seniors who knew to design and how these design UI, UX and all these things work. So we were like having, so many of our alums were having different kind of projects for their initiatives. So we helped them towards that. And after that I realized, okay, so the technology is something which is very highly paid and where we can make good profit being from a IT college. So then I upgraded that, the new brand name, to get good projects. We cracked some good projects like 5 lakhs, 8 lakhs and multiple to 2 lakh rupees in like 40,000-50,000 rupees. So things were going good, we did a lot. And then there was an opportunity which came on my plate, was where I got an offer to join a startup where we got a good funding. So I dropped out that time. So that I was in 4th year that time, and only 6 months were left. My thesis was left, so I had to decide what to do and what not. So I was pretty confident that okay, you have those skill set, you can make that kind of money which anyone can do it from a job. So I took this leap of faith, and then we started the product and we started building that. Then I came to Gurgaon where we were doing it. After that, what happened was ultimately we were on a different track and we were very young. We required a lot of more funding to take the market which we have already developed to the market, so that we can reach out to different customers, understand and upgrade the product, right? So the market was not accepted that time. The demonetization was going on, all those things were, so we were not able to raise the second round of funding as well. The things went to a full dead end, and we were about to choke in that product initiative. And then we started another initiative. Okay, let's not give up, let's not get choked, and we started a business, Tagbin again, where we were giving services with the experiential technologies to different brands, corporates, to making their events and launches with more exciting through different kind of technology. So creating the wow effect through the technology. So my partners are from different background with the robotics, IT, EC and all. So we used to create different kind of digital experiences. Over the time we realized, okay, that small experiences can be combined and can be delivered to bigger projects like museums, like experience centers, light and sound shows. So these projects are good, worth like 5 to 10 CR, where we are recently doing these things, and still we are transforming, and we have realized, okay, that we have a good skill set for consulting different kind of solutions to government, and we've understood that how government works and how to crack the projects over there. So we are into different kind of solutions creating for them also.
So I have a question regarding this.
Yeah.
So for example, you mentioned that Tagbin is working towards the technological developments. And so if we look at the technological landscape at large, every day there is a new development.
Obviously.
And we have multiple fields, and it's an entire ecosystem out there right now. One field leading to the other, and then it branches out further. So so startups initially may not have that kind of money, and so even if they have the rounds of series of funding and they come into money. So how should they decide as to what technology should they try implementing or they should adopt on? So for example, so you have 3D projection systems, you have 3D printing, now you have blockchain coming in. So but not all of these technologies are perhaps relevant to a particular geography.
Obviously.
I mean, we cannot go on blindly investing in technologies just for the sake of causing innovative disruption, because we may actually implement a lot of money but may not get any futile returns on it.
Okay.
So how do you go on deciding as to this is the technology which can actually solve consumer problems? There is a need for it, or perhaps there is a latent need which people aren't realizing that it will help them out.
Okay.
Rather than choosing on a technology which is actually redundant, or perhaps you don't have a market for it right now.
Yeah.
So how do you make that?
So that's a very right question you have asked. So being where I go and sell these kind of solutions to different government ministries and corporates, so we understand that what is the right problem and how we can upgrade the present way of working they are doing. Maybe you fasten the process, you eliminate like some dead ends or some paperwork, you digitize everything, which makes more efficient, less people required for that particular task. And we are into like different kind of experiences. So like we did the experience center for Smart City Dholera. So the problem was, it's a good case study for you to for me to make you explain, that they were making just the 3D models of that particular city. So what they were just making the 3D model of the city, so the people will come see that okay, this is the futuristic city which is coming up, and they'll go back. The investors, the partners, the owners who are looking forward to invest. So just looking at the 3D model, the printout, the videos and all those things. So that's the one way of selling a particular part of or a proposal from the smart city. Then we came into it, and then we proposed a digital experience center to sell different proposals the smart city has. Right? We created a complete zone where you enter, you see like what is the history in a very mesmerizing environment zone. Then we created a show where we did the complete projection mapping on the 3D models, printed 3D models with one of the screen in front of it. And then you see that how the city will be in next 30 years. So that right now, standing in front of that show, you can decide whether I want to invest or not. And then we had a different zone where you can clear all your doubts with the interactive technologies, information popping out and all those things. And after going back, the complete journey was so immersive that you remember all those things for a longer term of time, right? And the decision making becomes much easier to invest, and the investments and all those things are so big deals that the investors, so the Russian investors were there and they invested around 23,000 crores the first day they saw the experience. Or it would have taken a longer time to convince them to invest into it and to make them all things clear and all these things. But which happened was in a 1 hour journey to the experience center. So that's how we are helping the different kind of
solutions. You spoke about the point of selling.
Selling, yeah.
Now, so you come from a tech background.
Yeah.
You've worked with people who have mainly worked in tech, and so we have a lot of tech startups coming up these days.
Yeah.
Now, so one of the major concepts in marketing is points of parity and points of difference. So how should a startup go about forming its own USP or its own point of difference? And so I've asked this to a lot of people. So because we're in the ESL, we speak to a lot of new people who come up with new ideas. And so the one thing I've often come across is their USP is we give you a better service at a lower cost.
Yeah.
But sir, I don't think that is the way a startup should sell its USP. I mean, how should a tech startup specifically identify its USP? And how should they communicate it much more clearly? Because sir, you may come, and sir, as you said, you work with a lot of government people. And so government people come from various backgrounds. Yeah. The other person may not necessarily be well versed in technology. Yeah. So how do you go about forming your own unique statement or your own?
So it's about creating the value. So the bigger value you create, the more we can spend, right? So the ROI has to be there. Whether you are transforming the agriculture or a dairy management or a light and sound show for just the tourism, right? Or anything. Or like I told you, the Dholera Experience Center to sell the different kind of lands and different kind of proposals. So it depends that what technology is creating which value in which sector. So the value is very important. So you told me that it makes faster something. There was some startup which made things fast. So that's one of the value which it is giving. Maybe there might be another startup which might be making it efficient to work. So you can take more projects or bring on more customers or manage more sales, whatever it is. So technology works like that.
So I have one final question
yeah.
for you. So they always say entrepreneurs learn from their mistakes, and especially the amount of risks which entrepreneurs have to take, and especially in today's environment where it's a complete red ocean for major of the industries. So what is that one mistake you wish you could have rectified?
One mistake. Okay.
Or perhaps you wouldn't have want to make that one mistake could have avoided. I mean, I understand that learning is a part of life, and every entrepreneur is bound to hit some roadblock. But sir, we always, in retrospect, we wish that if we could have avoided this one mistake. So what would be your learning experience of that mistake, or what would be that experience?
I have to think, because I take my mistakes as learning, because I always think on my mistake and take it as a learning. So eventually the mistakes becomes my
So
learning.
if you have to give advice to someone
Yeah.
now that so this was the situation I encountered, but this is one situation you should definitely avoid. I mean, it is better you avoid the situation.
So I'll give you a general advice for everyone, for every situation. So there are few things which you can't change, right? You can't. Maybe you are in college or a job or a business or anything which you can't change. You should not focus on those things which you can't change. You should focus and work upon with what you can change. The time will eventually go and things will move to a better way, right? And the unchangeable things will eventually change. So you will be prepared for those things. Maybe like I was in college, so I was not able to change my college. I was not able to bunk the classes and then devote that time to my business. I used to go there, but I used to work daily every night for my startup and build things up. But eventually that changed, right? And there was some few opportunity which gave me enough opportunity to enough value to leave my college. So I dropped out, right? So maybe that's different for everyone at every stage. that's how.
Thank you, sir. I'm sure all the young entrepreneurs will benefit from your experiences.
All the best, start up and start fast.